Welcome back to Interesting Questions. I'm here in Southern California. It's where I live. So I'm doing this on Hurricane Hillary. Um, Hurricane Hillary has been very timid. Um, it where I live. Maybe it's a little bit crazier, closer to the coast or whatever. But so far, it's been very, very timid. Where I'm at. We had winter storms this year that were a lot worse. There's a lot more rainfall. I think we had like the second highest amount of snowfall recorded in California history. So which meant we got a lot of rain. There was a lot of rain. And I had a storm where the streets were so flooded. I was driving to work and I had to turn around and I went back home. I had to call into work because, my car is very low to the ground and I was afraid water was flowing down. I didn't want it to go into my tailpipes. I didn't want it to seize up the engine of my car. So I turned around and I went back home. I called into work. So I have a video here. It's from NBC News. And I feel there's a lot of hype behind this storm that I haven't experienced. I've been outside all day. I've been traveling. I've been driving around. I've been in a storm. I'm physically walking around, talking to people, rain falling on me. It feels very tropical, yes, because it's kind of warm. But I want to go ahead and I'm going to get over to this video from NBC. And I think it's a lot of things being blown out of proportion. Excuse me. I hope everyone down towards sea level, I hope everyone's all right down there. But like I said, rain can fall heavy in one place. It can be light in another. Like I said, I hope everyone's okay. That this storm hasn't caused too much destruction. But the point that I'm trying to make is this has been very timid to some of the winter storms we had this year. Plus, we have the Santa Ana winds in this area, and they can have gusts of up to 90 miles an hour. So we're kind of battle tested when it comes to high winds. We experience them here. We experience them in fall and spring. We get very heavy winds. We've experienced it. So without further ado, let's get to the video.
Good evening. I'm Kristen Welker in for Kate Snow. As we come on the air tonight, Tropical Storm Hillary is lashing Southern California with tens of millions in its path. This is the damage Hillary has already done. A wall of mud and water ripping through one Mexico town. The historic storm making landfall over Baja California in that country early.
Now, let me clarify this. Baja California is not California. It's part of Mexico. It's a peninsula, and it's a strip. There's a very large peninsula between Baja California and of Mexico. There's a lot of tourist areas along there, but here's the things. What Baja California is experiencing, they have much warmer water than we have just where California sits. We have colder water. So they actually experienced a hurricane. What we're experiencing is tropical rainfall. So let me clarify that.
Earlier today, but now it's pounding the U.S. Some 26 million people from the Southwest up to Idaho under flood alerts. It's been decades since a storm like this has hit the region, and officials warn it could be deadly and catastrophic. But breaking right now, an earthquake rocking Southern California. Let's get right to Aaron McLaughlin in Cherry Valley, just east of Los Angeles. And Aaron, people felt this earthquake just as the storm hit. What can you tell us?
Yeah, that's right, Kristen. According to the USGS, there was a magnitude 5.1 earthquake that struck Ojai, California, to the north of Los Angeles. Now, right there.
So I was up this morning, 10:30 a.m. I was on the phone with my nephew, and I got an alert, and it said, "Hey, you may have experienced shaking from an earthquake that's literally 100 miles north of where I'm at." I didn't experience nothing. I didn't feel anything at all personally, and I was wide awake when it happened, laying down on my sofa talking to my nephew on the phone. I guess you can kind of say in some ways, maybe this is Mother Nature's way of saying, don't be afraid of hurricanes. Be more afraid of what's beneath your feet, earthquakes, because that's what we experience here in California. I've experienced well over 100 in my lifetime, and maybe that's nature's way of putting us in check. Don't worry about the hurricane, worry about the earthquake.
There are no reports of significant damage or injuries, but we are monitoring the situation. Meanwhile, Tropical Storm Hilary striking to the south. Tonight, a powerful preview of the once-in-a-generation deadly storm that's smashing its way from Mexico into California and throughout the Southwest. In Baja, a wall of water turning this street into a river of mud. Hurricane Hilary, once a Category 4, now a tropical storm, impacting California for the first time.
Yeah, when it hit us, when it went into San Diego across the border, it was a tropical storm. So let's put that into perspective there. It was not a hurricane.
Time in 26 years.
We're batting down the hatches.
It's all hands on deck with the California governor declaring a state of emergency. Today, residents and tourists on Catalina Island near LA evacuating, packing ferries for the mainland. So many others in the area terrified of the hours ahead.
I'm afraid people might die.
That fear most acute in the low-lying desert areas. Look at this flooding from Las Vegas today. Palm Springs bracing for a year's worth of rain in a single day. Even light rain already a danger in Death Valley. Water already covering roads with national parks in the storm's path shut down. Even Disneyland closing early ahead of Hilary. Did you ever think that this would happen? It is August. No. And in the mountains east of Los Angeles, evacuation orders, but many choosing to stay, including Brian Maloney. Why are you staying?
Because we always stay. We wrote every one of them out, even the fires, right to the door.
This is being blown out of proportion. Trust me when I say this. The winter storms we just had are a lot worse than what me personally, what I just experienced with the storm. Winter storms were way worse. They were really bad.
Every time.
Around the corner, an ominous sign of the dangers ahead. This is what officials are worried about. Last year, there was a massive mudslide that sawed that house in half and took out this huge redwood tree. All of this after a thunderstorm, nowhere near what's in the forecast for tonight. The Poliva family is still deciding.
See how she said that? She basically said, oh, wow, this was taken out by a thunderstorm previously. Oh, this is not even close what's going to happen tonight. Exactly. Like, look at how she's propagating that this is going to be way worse than that. No, I'm telling you, I've been going through this all night. I understand it's only 2:11 in the morning. The storm is supposed to dissipate by 9 a.m. It has not lived up to the hype. That's all I'm saying.
Deciding what to do.
Right now, we're all standing under the sky, so barely any wind, barely any rain. But it's coming. But it is coming.
And no one knows just how much destruction Tropical Storm Hilary might bring.
Already so much damage there. Aaron is east of Los Angeles in Cherry Valley. Aaron, getting back to the breaking news about the earthquake, we're now hearing about aftershocks, right?
Yeah, that's right, Kristen. That earthquake was followed by a series of smaller aftershocks, and experts say at this point they do not.
Blown out of proportion. Earthquake is blown out of proportion on this too. 5.1 earthquake. I've had them literally 10 miles from my house, and I've literally been woken up with you know, a 4.7, 4.8 earthquake, and my, you know, my house shakes, and I look around. It wakes me up. I look around and I go, oh, and it stops, and I go, and I go right back to bed. Blown out of proportion. I'm sorry, but a lot of this stuff's being blown out of proportion.
Believe that there is a connection between the earthquake and the tropical storm. Here where I'm at in Cherry Valley, the wind and the rain have been picking up. Experts are very concerned about these old drainage systems being able to handle the kind of water in the forecast. Kristen.
Erin McLaughlin, stay safe and thank you. Priscilla Thompson is in Palm Springs, where there's flash flood concerns because of the hard, dry desert ground there. Priscilla, what are you seeing right now?
Well, Kristen, the rain here has only just begun, but already the streets are beginning to flood. And the concern for officials, as you mentioned, is this dry desert landscape. You see the water beginning to pool because it is not going to easily absorb it. And officials are very concerned that it is going to spread into the streets. It is why they have set up barricades like that one.
Doom and gloom, not living up to the hype. Telling you, overhyped. Earthquake, overhyped. We have earthquakes all the time in California. This storm, I knew, I had a feeling it would dissipate. It would hit Baja California. And Baja California, I'm sure got hit really hard. I'm sure there was a lot of flooding. I'm sure it was really bad in Baja California. But it's not California. That is Mexico. And by the time it hits our colder waters or it hits inland in California, these storms always dissipate. We've had them many times. The last time a physical hurricane hit California was in 1939. We did not have radar. Well, we didn't have satellite, so we couldn't track storms. The first satellite in history, I think, was in 1951. That was Sputnik by the Russians. We couldn't track storms. So in 1939, a lot of that stuff may have been blown out of proportion. We had a California hurricane in 1939. That doesn't mean we actually had one. It could have been a tropical storm like we're experiencing now. We have cold water. We have massive inland. These storms do not last. When they come up our coast, they hit our colder waters. Prime example, look at Alcatraz. The 3 escapees, they said, oh, they drowned in the frigid waters in San Francisco. San Francisco is what, 325 miles basically north of my position? And they have frigid waters. Oh no, those escapees, they would have died from hypothermia when they hit the frigid waters of the San Francisco Bay. So we have cold water here. These hurricanes can't last. And the media knows this, but they hype this up.
To warn people not to cross through those barricades because these roads are going to flood and could prove deadly. Kristen?
Those are critical warnings. Priscilla Thompson in Palm Springs, thank you. Let's get right to meteorologist Angie Lassman now. Angie, how long are we expecting all of this to last?
Good evening, Kristen. We've got at least another 24 hours to deal with Hillary's impacts. Right now, 26 million people under flood alerts, including flash flood warnings that have been put in effect for Southern California. As heavy rain works on, we've still got the tropical moisture that's going to work in with some heavy downpours through at least this evening and the potential for some isolated tornadoes. The remnants of Hillary will move to the north and west tomorrow. The threat of heavy rain and damaging winds will continue. Isolated amounts up to 5 inches of rain are possible between now and Monday.
Our Santa Ana winds are way more torrential than any wind I experienced today. These are like simple. Some of the winter winds we got were way worse than this. Our Santa Ana winds, during spring and fall are really bad. Like we have like up to 90 mile an hour gusts. It blows diesels over all the time. So the winds that I've experienced today, nothing. And I've been out all day. I went out with family, went out to dinner, blown out of proportion. That's what I'm saying. This was all blown out of proportion.
And on top of that, the power outages will be likely, with places like Las Vegas seeing peak wind gusts of up to 50 miles per hour. Yuma, Arizona headed close to 70 miles per hour. This will be another day or so of us looking at the impacts across this region, Kristen.
Thanks for watching.
So, like I said, my opinions on all this. This was blown out of proportion by the media. Like I said, this storm was a walk in the park. It wasn't that big of a deal. And I know people. My nephew, he works in San Diego. He was talking to friends, and yeah, there was lightning, there was heavy rain. There was heavy rain, but like I said, here in the inland in California, we experience up to 90-mile-an-hour gusts that blow diesels over. So we're battle tested when it comes to wind. This past winter storm, worst I've ever seen in my lifetime. So I think a lot of this was blown out of proportion for media purposes. But let me know what you think. If you're here in the inland, you're here in Southern California, what were your experiences? And like I said, I don't know. Down closer to ocean levels, maybe things were worse. Maybe it was. Maybe there was more flooding or whatever. I can't imagine that it was worse than some of the winter storms we just experienced earlier this year, because they're some of the worst I've ever seen in my life. So leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. And if here are interesting questions, that's what we're asking. We're asking interesting questions. So if you enjoy this video, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment and share the video. Share it with friends and family so that they can leave their comments. Well, I appreciate your guys' time. Thank you for joining me. And as always, peace.